to innovate the future, and more like robber barons of the information age, quietly running surveillance machines in the background, no matter what the greater cost might be to society, even if it turned out to be society itself. It was also around this time that Amazon became notorious for sweatshop-like conditions in the massive warehouses they were rapidly building around America. In 2013, it was revealed that Amazon warehouse workers were often forced to work in extreme heat, over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, during the summer, where instead of running air conditioning, managers would arrange for paramedics and ambulances to park outside to treat anyone who fell ill while packing boxes. In the mid-2010s, Larry Ellison from Oracle would also draw attention for buying 98% of the 6th largest island in Hawaii, becoming essentially a neo-feudal landlord with reports that lifelong residents were forced out of their own communities not long after.
Oracle CEO and billionaire Larry Ellison has just made a rather large investment or purchase. He's just bought the island of Lanai, which is the 6th largest island in Hawaii, for reportedly $500 million to $600 million.
Peter Thiel, who had founded PayPal in the early 2000s, began using the tech behind PayPal's fraud detection algorithms for widespread surveillance for policing and military use, creating systems that could track millions of Americans without their knowledge. More than ever, social media had begun to make us crazy. In 2021, a whistleblower from Facebook would leak massive amounts of Facebook's own internal research, in which they would admit that they knew that hateful, divisive, polarizing content gets the most engagement for their platform. They knew that their own system exploited the human brain's attraction to divisiveness, and they knew that their algorithms would learn to keep feeding people more and more of it. They had turned one.
Yo, bro, fuck, I was muted. Oh my god, that was probably like 3 minutes worth of being muted. That's crazy. That is fucked up, bro. Nah, as I said, bro, yo, I already introduced the whole thing. No. Oh fuck. Yo, hopefully you're still here, bro. Yo, as I was saying, man, I'm about to title this one how to buy an island. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy.
Widespread social alienation, paranoia, and increased extremism into a business model. They had figured out how to find our darkest, most fearful instincts and then monetize all of it. These people were becoming the robber barons of our minds. Today, it's hard to argue that the average American isn't simply being left behind. In the last 40 or so years, education has become far more expensive. In 1982, the cost of a year at a public university was about 4% of the median family income. Today, it's 24%. The same goes for the price of housing. In 1982, the median price of a house was about 4 times the median household income. Today, it's over 5 times. In 1975, the top 1% of American earners were making about 9% of the national income. Today, that number is over 25%. They hold even more of the wealth. Over 30% of the country's money is held by the top 1% richest Americans.
Damn.
And the result of these changes is that path, that method, the American way, the middle class, it no longer works the way it used to. Normal life is completely unaffordable. The middle class, as we always have thought of it to be, no longer exists. In many ways, it's just gone. Suffocated to death by the reality that the core pillars of a stable life, housing, education, good wages, cheap healthcare, these things are becoming increasingly more difficult to find. In fact, for decades now, wages have stagnated while the cost of life necessities has gone up, forcing an entire generation of people to finance a normal life through mountains of debt. The American dream of upward mobility and eventual stability has been replaced with this reality of permanent financial scarcity, where even people with good degrees or jobs are just one emergency away from economic ruin. And there's an infinite amount of statistics about income and the economy.
Yo, and that one is the most painful one, eh? To know that you've worked like your whole entire life, right? To get this degree that doesn't even mean nothing right now.
That I could pull out of my ass to try and prove that. But I
pull something out, as you better pull something out.
think culturally, we can feel this change as well. We're now more addicted to celebrity entrepreneurs than ever before.
Yeah,
The Kardashian
influencers.
family, the Tate brothers, Mr. Beast, these are all these examples of this phenomenon of people who clearly, admittedly, do not embody virtue or the good life, but instead represent our collective desire to be rich because we come to subconsciously believe that getting rich is the only success or mark of virtue worth attaining. We follow entrepreneurs like they're philosophers, like making stacks of money isn't a means to an end, but the point of life in itself. Not again because we think they're good people, but because we've quietly accepted this underlying rule that they live by, that being rich and having attention is the only proof that you have lived life correctly. It's everywhere. Social media is full of people LARPing as CEOs or entrepreneurs, filming themselves like they're a character out of American Psycho, treating stock tips or crypto pump and dumps like it's ancient wisdom.
And then selling you the course afterwards, right? You gotta not forget the fact that they about to sell you that course, brother.
If you scroll through Instagram Reels, you'll see countless people selling courses or digital marketing packages. Whatever it is, people want to be rich. We don't talk about being decent, being stable, being part of a community. We talk about building a brand. I think people my age are just totally brain fucked. The amount of people who have just started giving up on life because they don't think it's even worth it to try, it's overwhelming. It's like no one wants to be normal. You either want to be a quintillionaire who has 5,000 wives, drives a Bugatti and lives in Dubai, or
I got tech teams in Israel. Bugatti.
you want to sit in a basement for the rest of your life and jerk off doing nothing.
Yo.
But I think the reason why we...
Yeah, but like, think about it though. You know what I'm saying? Like a thought that like would hit me, right? Later on in life as I get older and older is that, yo, okay, think about the fact that if you had all the money that you desired right now, no matter how much that amount is, bro, like, just think of the number, right? Let's say you had that. What would you sit around all day and do, bro? Because everything, like, everything could be provided for. You just need to go get it. I mean, you have the resource to access you getting it. Just gotta go get it. The thing is, you don't have to work. I feel like, you know, this whole little work thing and working your whole life and, you know, the whole rat race, and especially when you've spent your whole life being part of the middle class, the dreaded middle class, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's like you at least it gives you some sort of sense of purpose, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives you something to do so that you don't sit around and jerk off all day, because now you have all the money in the world. You don't have to go outside and interact with the world and, you know what I'm saying, fail at some shit and succeed and then fail again and then succeed again and then make these connections with people and touch grass and etc, etc, right? It doesn't give you that kind of purpose, so you don't really have a reason to go out there, so you're indoors jerking off all day. That's it, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Think about how jerking off in 2026 right now, like the whole idea of gooning and, you know what I'm saying, you know, this whole kind of, you know, degeneracy, really, like it's not attractive. No. Hey, I'm not saying a whole bunch of people are not doing it, it's just you. No, I'm saying it's not attractive. Keep it wherever the freak it exists currently, right? Don't come out with it. Don't try and be like, yo, nah, yeah, all these negative side effects of just like whacking my ish off, having weird sexual kinks, like, yo, that's not a problem, man. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's still a problem. Even if like you have nothing else to do with your time, then just do that, right? It's like, it's not valuable, it's not productive. You know, that's the conversation that's the point we're trying to get at with this conversation. So it's like, imagine you got everything to do, I mean everything that you needed. You'd sit at home and be so bored. And, you know, now we're getting into the territory of exploring such dark kinks, bro. Such dark kinks, bro. That a whole series of just like files has to be released off of your ass. You know what I'm saying? That you just got a whole bunch of like files and emails that'll drop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nigga was just too bored. He was just too bored. He had all the money in the world.
collectively buy into this idea of hustle culture and wealth is because we really have no other choice. This traditional vision of prosperity through modesty, it faded away. It's gone. We didn't even notice.
Poof.
Because our economic growth marched on infinitely, but only for the benefit of an increasingly small group of people.
Yeah.
I don't blame people who feel pressured to be hustlers or to make more money or to be entrepreneurs, because you have to. It's that or nothing. But I think the uncomfortable part of this conversation that makes it so much harder to talk about is that this same handful of oligarchs that are building up insane influence and wealth while the middle class drowns are also the same people who made modern life so insanely convenient and dropped innovation after innovation after innovation for the last 40 years. The list of accomplishments in the tech industry is endless. Google alone processes 16.5 billion searches every single day, instantly answering questions on any topic you could think of.
And you got to think about how many people are using Google right now, as we speak right now, as I speak to you right now. Like Google is behemoth, bro, when it comes to like search engine shit, right? Is it Google? Is it
7.5 billion people, more than 85% of everyone in the world, have smartphones with unlimited access to news, entertainment, communications. There are millions of free lessons on coding, language, history, math, and science. It's all available on YouTube and other platforms for free. Even the barrier of language, the oldest divider of culture and nationality in human history, is disappearing. We literally have apps that translate speech in real time. You can go and talk to someone who speaks zero English and have a fluid conversation if you have AirPods. That alone could count as a civilizational milestone, and we take it for granted because we can get it for free whenever we want.
Mark, io mi chiedo se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni lineari.
Sicuramente sì.
If I were born in 1969 instead of 1999, I simply would not have been able to spend my early career creating independent documentaries that reach millions of people speaking out against the rise of oligarchy in
what would you be doing then?
the US. It literally would not have been possible. And by the way,
it wouldn't have been possible. Okay, cool.
Buying my merch makes it possible.
So
you go to spiritworld.store to check out the holiday sale.
Today's segue and today's sponsor. Nice, Volta guys. Damn.
And you can get free shipping on these amazing crew necks that depict some of the most intense corruption in American history. Either way, though, what I'm saying is that I'm using the oligarchs' platforms to speak out against them.
That's what it is, though. Oh, yes. Talk about that.
I genuinely am more free to express myself however I want to anyone who wants to watch than any period in history till now. So the question
but have y'all my bad for pausing it right there. Have y'all been thinking about that whole idea though of like, being somebody that does speak out against like these giant oligarchs and blah blah blah, on their platforms though, like using their platforms to speak out against the fact that they are weak ass individuals and like they want all the money for themselves and da da da. And these platforms that you use even to monetize and survive yourself, it's what they created though. Now imagine they didn't even do, or they didn't come to a point of being the people that they are right now, right? Running all these things that they run, having created all these things that they created, right? These social media platforms, blah blah blah, all these kind of convenient, exciting things. You understand what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't for that, would you even have this, as an option of survival? This, for example, social media, people that like survive off of social media, survive off of their social media and they're in, online presence in general. You understand what I'm saying? And now you get people that like speak out against these oligarchs and these big tech giants and all of that kind of, it's mad ironic. You speak out against the people whose platform you're using to speak. What are we speaking about right now? Right? It's kind of weird. But I guess there's some benefit to that. Even on these giant giants end, right? Even on these oligarchs' side, there's some benefit to you doing that. I don't know, somehow, maybe?
Really isn't. Are tech companies pure evil, and should we just shut it all off and go live in the woods? Because I think what we only realized recently at a societal level is what we're trading in return for all of this progress.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, we're trading our souls.
Oh.
In the age of the robber barons, it was pretty easy to identify the give and take. They built railroads, oil refineries, steel mills, skyscrapers, maybe not what we think of as being technology today, but they were making the world bigger, better, and more modern. On the flip side though, they crushed human beings in the process. Thousands, tens of thousands died while working for them. But they did build the world as we know it today. It was terribly exploitative, abusive, and evil, but it was direct. Today's tech oligarchs, though, have created a far more abstract, but honestly, much more sinister dynamic. Tech workers are highly paid. Many of them become millionaires themselves, and it's seen as a pretty high status job. It's a lot different from laying tracks for a railroad in the middle of the mountains for 15 hours a day. And the tech products they create are often free, convenient, and useful. Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, Google Docs, Maps, Sheets, Translation, Facebook Marketplace, all this stuff is free. That's not how they make money. You can sell a car on Facebook Marketplace for $35,000 and you don't pay Facebook a dime. You can do your entire college degree on Google Suite and you don't pay anything. Whatever, it's free. You can do it whenever you want. You can have it's unlimited free GPS. All you need is a phone. What they make money from is selling our souls to the highest bidder. Sure, the old robber barons in the 1800s would work you to death and then shoot you in the face if you stopped. Today, they figured out how to get us to do it to ourselves. The dopamine loops, the algorithms engineered to get us addicted to toxic negative content full of lies and falsehoods, it's all shaping our moods, our beliefs, our politics, and our identities to be more extreme than ever before. The robber baron has evolved. They no longer need to dominate the physical world. Instead, they can control the mental, cultural, and emotional sphere in a way that is arguably more insidious than just straight up shooting you in the back of the head.
It is.
Our inner life, our attention, our values, our sadness, our happiness, our imagination, our sense of self, that's where tech companies are making money. They look at your search history, your interests, they build a map of who you are, and then they exploit you with advertisements and suggestions to keep us addicted to their platform, keep us spending
yes, it has begun long ago.
Money, keep us thinking negatively, so we just go back more. These products are free because we are what they make money from. Modern life is easier and smarter than ever, but for most people, it's also more stressful, more precarious, more unstable, and more mentally corrosive than it has been at any point in the last 50 years. But how could we have known? Almost no one looked at the first smartphones and said, yeah, obviously one day this is going to shatter the national psyche. No one saw Google in 1999 and said, yeah, this is going to become a tool to spread propaganda. Was there anyone who saw Facebook in 2006 and thought it would be anything but a way for young people to chat online? Because when the same structural changes that lead to these very problems we're facing right now were first proposed, they were actually widely loved by almost everybody. But why? For a lot of people living in the late 1970s, this mid-century era of shared prosperity was starting to feel like a messy failure. Interest rates were high, the stock market was pretty stagnant, inflation and unemployment were going up. Things weren't going amazingly well. By 1980, people were sick of government regulation. Society yearned for real, fast, rapid growth. So when Ronald Reagan showed up saying that he was ready to try a new system, he ended up steamrolling his way into the White House. In the 1980 presidential election, Reagan only lost 4 states, winning 490 electoral votes versus Jimmy Carter's 49. For his second term, he won even harder, receiving 525 electoral votes versus Walter Mondale's 13. Literally every single state voted for Reagan.
That's an exponential W.
The second most lopsided presidential election ever. So why do people blame what's happening now on him? Reagan's solution was simple. If you cut taxes on corporations and rich people, deregulate businesses and stocks, the benefits would trickle down to everyone else. On paper, it sounds at least possible.
But in reality, nothing is ever black and white. Come on, man. You should know better.
And so after he gets into office, within a few years, the top federal income tax rate goes from 70% to 25%. And at the time, it seemed to help. The GDP went up, unemployment went down, the stock market started ripping, but in the long run, I think we can clearly see what really happened. Yes, the economy got bigger, but the benefits for normal people just kept shrinking and shrinking. The trickle down actually went up.
Common sense told us that when you put a big tax on something, the people will produce less of it. So we cut the people's tax rates, and the people produced more than ever before. The economy bloomed like a plant that had been cut back and could now grow quicker and stronger.
And so now the world we live in is deeply extreme. Everyday life is a psychological battle. We're locked in this spiritual war to stay sane while the massive, heavy systems of technology try to destroy our minds for profit. The people profiting from it have made their products so ubiquitous that it's impossible to even identify the issue at hand, let alone get away from it. At the same time, we're now living in a world where the stock market is totally divorced from reality, where the health, prosperity, and success of the majority of people has very little, if not nothing, to do with the strength of the economy as a whole. The GDP goes up, but the quality of life goes down. A tiny handful of companies and people essentially control the global markets. It's not to say that it's directly the tech companies' fault that middle-class America has shrunk, but it's that the
tech companies control the global market. What do they call that kind of reality?
Conditions that allowed them to grow so much are also the same ones that made life harder for normal people. Even the point I made about yuppies like 15 minutes ago has to be accompanied with a footnote that while yes, a bunch of people were making new money in tech and finance during the 90s, at the same time, normal middle-class industrial jobs got absolutely shattered. In the 80s, more factories closed than ever before. America lost 5 million manufacturing jobs in the 80s and 90s alone. So yeah, Reaganomics didn't feel like a cartoon villain plot at the time. We were living through gas lines, double-digit inflation. The idea of cutting taxes and shrinking government, blah, 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 whatever, it sounded rational. And it did create growth, just maybe a little too much. The way that I see it right now, the battle has already been won. I mean, or lost, I guess, for people like us, who are normal and don't have billions of dollars. There's a very clear pattern of what's been happening to normal people. It isn't getting better. There are billionaire oligarchs steering the ship right now in every way. And in exchange for free, convenient tools and the ever-advancing promises of infinite new technology and infinite rising stocks, we gave up our privacy, our attention, our collective grip on reality, and our quality of life. That's the deal we're in right now. You get infinite entertainment as long as you're okay with a mind virus turning you into an obese, schizophrenic, libtard, rightoid, transgender, fascist Bitcoin miner.
But look at the side effects that had to happen, bro. Like, these are just the side effects of something that people were hopeful in. People were, you know, hopeful that it could bring a whole bunch of convenience to life. You know what I'm saying? It could make life easier. You know what I mean? These things, you know, they brought a whole lot of hope in people's mind. Well, hope, for a better future. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like the purpose of, you know, these tech companies producing all of this technology, you know what I'm saying, for our lives to be smarter, faster, more convenient. These are just the side effects of it, in that you get people who naturally, with their natural brain powers, are slower, much more lazier. You know what I'm saying? You get economics that produce, you know, the kind of imbalances, you know, because at the end of the day, people are human beings, dog. You know what I'm saying? The more that they receive, the more that they will want. And so therefore the people whose vision was trusted, right, to change the world, change paradigms of the world, make it more convenient and everything like that, those people still need it more and more, because they're hungry for more and more, because, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay, I don't know if that's the saying that I wanted to put in there, but you know what I'm saying? It's like the more power you have, the more you want to, you know, attain. You know what I'm saying? That's a psychological thing. I'm going to go ahead and conclude. And so therefore, you know, we are now watching the side effects of all of this happening, and it's making this new reality we're in a bittersweet one, because you do have people that, like, bro, like, I don't have a problem with the betterment of the world advancing, and, you know what I'm saying, new technology being produced and initiated so that, you know, we can be better, that we can have a better human experience. You know what I'm saying? But then now it's looked at as bittersweet, more bitter than sweet. The fact that, you know, it's, you know, brain rot, you know what I'm saying? Buzzwords like brain rot, Buzzwords like economic bubble, buzzwords like giant oligarchs, you know what I'm saying, wanting exponential growth at the cost of other things that, you know what I'm saying, that were value to people, or people themselves at the cost of literally people themselves. You know what I'm saying? Side effects like this where it's like, oh shit, wait. I think we've reached a perfection point where even the negative aspects of this thing has reached perfection. You know what I'm saying? Obviously that's something of great concern. It's a call for like better solutions and better this, that, and the third. And to think that the technology of today was a solution from the problem of yesterday, ooh, write that down, that's a bar. You know what I'm saying? We are still at the point at which we have a whole lot more problems than solutions, it feels like. You know what I'm trying to say?
You may not get to own your own house. We're now at a point where the median age
oh shit, you'll own nothing and be happy. Remember that slogan.
of a person buying a home in America is 59 years old versus 29, 30 years ago. But we have unlimited cheap access to as much porn, weed, entertainment, and fast food as we could possibly want.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's crazy to me that pretty much everybody, no matter what side you're on, is starting to recognize that we are in a very sticky situation.
The basic things our parents enjoyed are increasingly out of reach for Gen Z and millennials. You see, the American dream has become a luxury item for the wealthy elites.
Concentrating wealth in the hands of a very small group of people, hyping the stock market like it's a casino, pretending that the party will never end, deregulating finance to make even more money. And all of this was followed in the past by suffering and even a world war after it fell apart. Afterwards, in our panic, we regulated everything, taxed the rich, broke up the monopolies, and spent 50 years pretending we had learned our lesson, only to forget and do the same thing all over again once we felt we needed more growth. So I don't think it's necessarily the case that billionaires stole everyone's money. That's not how a free market works, and the free market is what everyone wanted. I think what it comes down to is the idea that history happens in a loop or a cycle. I think it seems kind of obvious at this point that we've come so far from our past mistakes, but we've also basically forgotten about them entirely. People have repeated that phrase about weak men and hard times until it's literally a meme that means nothing because you've heard it a billion times. But I think what we're dealing with is an example.
Heard it a trillion times. Oh, boom. Heard it a trillion times. Since, you know, we're looking at how to steal $7 trillion. Seen this meme a trillion times. Ooh. To a point where it's a trillion times redundant now. Ooh, shit.
Example of that pattern being exactly true.
Yep.
Hard times like the Great Depression, it created strong men who were willing to take action and make change to prevent it from happening again. And that brought about good times. But these good times created complacent people who ended up letting these conditions who originally caused these problems rise again. Boomer politicians, they made millions of dollars off the stock market. They don't care if tech is out of control and strangling the rest of the world to death. They don't give a shit. They have infinite money. Why do they care? They'll stay in office until they die.
Whoa. What the? Wait, that was not AI, right? Yo,
voting.
How old do you gotta be?
Hooked up to a ventilator. They don't give a shit.
No.
And so I think the uncomfortable truth is a pretty simple one. Maybe it's not possible to have stock markets that go up forever and ever and ever, while a handful of people make trillions of dollars with tens of thousands of millionaire employees, while at the same time, we have a broad, stable middle class. Maybe we just have to accept that that's not really a realistic possibility. For the last 40 years, we've picked our poison. Optimizing everything, taxes, laws, even media and culture for rising charts, rags to riches stories, making $1 billion overnight. And you can link this to everything. Why are people not having kids? Because we don't have enough money. Why do people have depression? Because we're not thriving. When you build a world where money is the only proof that you're a good or important person, you shouldn't be surprised when everything else starts to rot. The point of this whole story, robber barons, the Great Compression, Reaganomics, the tech boom, social media, hustle culture, COVID, the billionaire explosion. The point is that none of this is a law of nature. These conditions we live in, where the middle class has become a distant memory and tech is grinding our minds to dust, anything can be re-engineered. It's just that whether or not we do it before it's too late, that's out of my control. I mean, it might be too late already. The robber barons of 1900 stole our labor. The robber barons of 2025 stole our minds. And they already bought our data, our sanity, our attention. It all belongs to them. The only thing they can't buy is what we decide is worth worshiping. That's what they can't control. Our values, what we're willing to live or die for. At least for now, that part is still up to us. I'm Philip D'Amico. This has been Volksgeist. If you want to support this independently owned